Welcome to the Gearbox Podcast with Jimmy Purdy. We're bringing together industry leaders and those in the daily grind. Whether you're a tech looking to level up or a shop owner navigating the business, or just here for some real talk about the automotive world, we're finding the common ground in entrepreneurship and picking up some valuable tips along the way. So buckle up, let's shift into gear. Before we get started, I want to let you know the Gearbox Podcast is powered by the Repair Shops of Tomorrow. It's our exclusive coaching partner. If you're looking to boost profitability, grow your arrow, and streamline operations, RSOT has the tools and expertise to get you there. Shift your shop into the future with the Repair Shops of Tomorrow.
It's you put out one fire to find another one, and then hope you have the extinguisher for that one.
It's like whack-a-mole.
It really is. Hopefully the moles get smaller.
No, I have not. I've yet to find that. In fact, I think they get larger the more I've realized. I don't know. The process is like, it's very interesting how it's always like, I just need to do this and then I'll be set. Or like, like if I just get this figured out, then I'll be good. And it's like, there's just like this, it's blissful ignorance I think is the best way I could describe it.
Well, we're fools. We're fooling ourselves, right? Like you're into hot rods.
Yeah.
You're like, all I got to do is just do this, and then you do that 3 days later, and it's like, oh, now I have to find this. So I'm helping a buddy build a motorcycle that I sold him because I needed it out of my shop at the house, and then he moves in, and the bike never leaves, and now he's leaving to move to Texas, and we're on a deadline, and now I'm building the motorcycle anyway. It's like, oh, this is fun. So I get to build my motorcycle and then give it away.
Oh, perfect. Well,
But I mean,
hopefully getting paid for it though.
Nah, he's a good friend. I don't want any money. It's just really bad timing. It's like, I mean, that's what you do for friends, right? And it's okay. It's just bad timing. I mean, I want to help him, and he wants the bike built, and he's very appreciative of it. So that's not like it's not valid or warranted. You know what I mean? So it feels good. Yeah. It's not for nothing. So
that's cool.
But it's just the way it is. It's like,
what are friends for?
Yeah, for free motorcycle building. No, but he's a really good dude. So I enjoy it. It's stressful because it's just the timing, But
it's never the right time.
No, it's like having kids.
That is what it is, Yeah. I'll know what that's like shortly, so we'll see.
Yeah. Congrats.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, a few things I wanted to chat about. I know kind of in passing a little bit we talked about, coaching and it seems like you've come a long ways in a very short amount of time with your place. Pretty inspiring. I mean, probably doesn't feel that way, but
no, I'm grateful for what I have. And, when people listen or, talk to you, or they see somebody through a screen and they listen to all these other things, they're like, oh, that's not real, or they talk about how many like numbers or whatever they got, it's like, there's truth to that. And then, but you only see like what's on the outside or whatever people's projecting. And it's like, the truth is, yeah, like we were pretty good, right? We ended the year with some net profit and it felt good, first year in business. And then the next time I checked the accounts, after like December was a wash, right? Like I was like, hey, we have a bunch of time off, we break even, and then we spend a bunch of money at the end of the year. And then January comes around, you start watching the bank account like just start dwindling. And then next thing you know, at the end of January, we were plus a bunch of money, and then we were down like 40 grand in like the next month. Like, oh, that's not, that's crappy, so then, so it felt good the end of the year on like a positive note. And before you know it, it's like, all right, now we're still in the red. And I think we just, after the last week, we're finally in the black again, but we're still, our monthly or quarterly goals were still 30,000, I think, less than where we're supposed to be for like my year end goal for like money savings to buy property. So it's like, it's the way it is. So like, if anybody was listening to the last podcast I had with Confessions with Mike and Brian, it's like, oh yeah, this guy's winning. Look at all this awesome stuff. And then no shit, like a week later, it's like everything kind of just was like, oh crap, it's not good. So it's like real life, like it's not all, like daisies and whatever else you want to call it,
True. Yeah.
but
No. Yeah. I mean, that's the valuable part of it, though, right? Like, I think that's the part that makes you not get excited, which is kind of a sad truth. But I mean, you can't get excited about it, right? Like,
yeah,
and then
you
what?
look what
And then
you
wonder
look
why
what
we're all walking
happens.
around with like all being jaded and everything about it. It's like, well, it's just because you have to, right? Like, because we don't know what in 3 months is going to happen, or with the untold expenses or the slowdown, and everything always happens at one time, and it's just
Yeah,
the nature of the beast.
yeah. So like before we started recording, I told you that we had our best week we've ever had. Some of that was carryover, but not much of it. And we crushed. We did $35,000 in a week, which for our shop is enormous. Our best record we ever had was about 20 or 22,000, I think. So we had totally annihilated it, um, which was awesome. And then now we're second day in, and we're just where we're supposed to be, which is better than some. I mean, I've had before where we hit Wednesday with $0 closed, and that's like a challenge where we're always I'm trying to make sure I schedule the work dynamically so I can get billable hours out on a daily basis and not cram 40 hours in Thursday and Friday, it's like per tech. And that's a challenge because it's stressful for them. Like I got a really good team. They want to see it successful and they want the business to grow. So I got the right people, but it's just a matter of like being good to them and trying to limit the amount of stress so I don't burn them out either. And so we're trying that. No, as my coach would say, there is no try. So
Yeah,
shout out to Rick White. Yeah. So we are doing that. I want to do it better, but we are getting better for sure.
I think monitoring and like being ahead of the curve. I mean, I wasn't that involved with weekly sales till I was like 4 years in. I mean, I I just wrote off whatever was in the bank account, right? Like, I didn't. It's like, as long as there was enough to like write a check to pay all the bills. That's how I did it for the first almost 4 years, right? So monitoring your sales weekly. I mean, you're already like way ahead of the game. I mean, way ahead of where I was, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even want it, as long as I didn't have less than $1,000 in my bank account. And I was like, all right, I'm winning.
Yeah. Like it's funny you say that. This is my second business, right? The first one I had a VW Audi store when I left the dealership in 2006. I had a VW Audi shop outside of Philly for about 3 years. And dude, I couldn't even tell you what my best week, month, or whatever was. I have no idea. I just know that I had a tow truck, a wad of cash, and a bunch of cool cars. And it was like, dude. I mean, obviously that's not real life, but
Yeah, but it's so blissful.
it is. If you look at it is. You look at what I had when I was mobile with the shop at my house, where I was able to do some. Um, I was able to do large jobs at my house until the city shut me down, right? And I kind of knew that was coming. When you have 3 tow trucks show up to your house in a really nice neighborhood that probably should have an HOA on a Sunday, you're probably pissing some people off. So I knew I was on borrowed time. And what was nice about that was my overhead at that point, even with like shop management software, insurance. Um, I had Mitchell, only Mitchell. My expenses were like $2,000 a month at the most, and I'm like, my net profit was better by probably by a lot more. Um, but that's not what I wanted, right? Like I wanted a real shop, like Pinocchio, right? So you want a real shop and you want to provide like better service and better technicians. That's what I'm looking for. And that comes at a cost. If your total goal is to have net profit, you could probably do better just being by yourself with minimal overhead. But yeah, it's just
That's
not
a
what we
that's a
did.
that's a thought I have all the time.
It's
That's a
funny, like
reoccurring thought in my mind.
yeah, it's crazy. So my first shop when I first opened up in Philly in 2006, I went and rented a commercial space, two bays. I had two lifts and a really small dead bay you could fit like a Civic hatchback in. And at that point in time, my rent then was like 950 a month. Well, it paid for itself immediately, and I was continuing to work at the dealership for a year, and I just burned the candle from both ends. And that was really fun, I guess. But there was a transmission guy that had a huge shop in Philly, and he said, "I'm done with this." And then he went out and got a single bay, hired a guy to R&R stuff. And then as time went on, his business grew again. And then he's like, he did it all over again after he said he didn't want to do it. So it's like we're gluttons for punishment, man. And I don't know what it is about like us versus other business owners and stuff, but it seems like a lot of us just want to provide more and better, and that's what we try to do.
I,
Yeah.
well, I, I mean, I totally agree, and I think it's doing it for the wrong reasons, like on both ends of the stick, right? So, like to own a business, right, is to be profitable, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is, what industry you're in, business is business, right? Like I've been watching a lot of like Cardone or Cardone, whatever it is, and like the business practices are all the same. It doesn't need to be automotive specific. It's just about making money, right? Well, but in the automotive industry, like we're providing a service for people, so we're in the caretaking profession, right? And those two don't really like go very well together. Like you can't take care of people, and I mean you can, and we do, and that's what makes our job, our profession, I think, harder than most. Is we are doing both. We're taking care of people, and we're trying to be profitable at the same time. But that's a hard mix, right? Like some of the biggest, most successful businesses really don't have anything to do with customer service. It's like Amazon is like, yeah, sure, we'll give you another one. Like, and the only way they got any better from where they were is they started providing a little bit better customer service, right? And it's like, but we're trying to do both from day one, so it's very difficult to say the least.
It's really hard when you're providing estimates. Like today, I gave an estimate out for, I don't know, $19,000 and everything that's wrong with the vehicle. Well, I'm not going to say, of course, they're not going to buy it, but realistically, no one's going to spend $19,000 on a 2002 Toyota 4Runner. And it's like, so now you're stuck with trying to take care of them at the same time. How do you, it's hard to provide, this is going to get like raked over the coals for this. It seems like it can be hard to provide um, good customer service when you're very expensive, but you do it by having good quality of service and customer care, right? And the expensive part is there. That makes it difficult, but it's not impossible. And it's like that is hard because when people say, yeah, that's a lot of money, it's like, well, yes, it is. It is. And the only thing I can offer you that's better than other places that might be less expensive is that I'm going to take care of you if there's a problem. You have a nationwide warranty and the other people don't. I'm using very good quality parts. So it's like you have a way, you don't have to justify it at what your prices are, but you have a way to explain it. And it's like if you're selling steak and this is what I sell at this store and you want hot dogs, then I'm just not the place for you. And there's plenty of places that sell hot dogs and that's okay. But, you know, but yeah, it's a challenge for sure cuz and I don't think I'm really that expensive. I just think that we bill correctly. When you look at what the margins are and what your financial goals are, um, I think that it's possible. And when you say yes to cheap things or say I only have $1,000 for this $2,000 repair, I'll say I'm sorry I can't help you. Like when you say yes to that, you have to understand that you're giving in something. If you just want to give in your profits, that's okay. If you're giving in to quality, that's a problem. If you're giving into warranty, that's an issue. There's other things that you have to always take into consideration. And as Adam Rath would say, why do you hate your family so much when you lower your price? Because that's really what it comes down to. You are taking money out of your pocket, or you're taking money out of your shop's pocket that pays for the training, pays for your technicians, pays for the benefits. So you're willing to give all that up because you want to do $1,000 job that should be $2,000. Well, it's a lot to think about.
It's fair points though. I mean that's the biggest thing right there that I think transitions out of like that caretaker position and more into like the business owner position, right? We start That's like when the blinders come off, right? You start seeing behind the curtains a little bit. noticing like this is what how the wheels keep spinning. And I always look at it as I'll take it like one step further than that. I want to pay my employees that spend their money in our community, right? So if I can pay them a wage that they can go out to dinner and take their kids out to dinner and take their wife out to dinner, they can go do community events, they can give back. Like that's what keeps it in the circular economy, right? So when people come and say, "Man, you're really expensive," it's like, well, let me explain to you why. My landlord needs to get paid. He's a local, right? And he likes to keep his building looking nice, right? Sucks that I got to pay that much in rent, but it goes to a good place if you have a good landlord that takes care of stuff. So that's nice. Also, everyone that works here lives local, right? So they're going to restaurants, they're taking their kids to jiu-jitsu practice and all the other things, right, in the community. So the money's going back into it, and this is what provides all that. So if we don't charge enough, I can't pay them enough to do that stuff. So that's a big part of it too. That's like you're not just paying money into a corporate entity. And I hate like when they look into like these bigger chains, right? Or like Amazon. I already brought that up, so bring that up again. When you buy stuff from Amazon, well, it's like $5 cheaper. It's like, yeah, but if you spend $10 more at a local shop, that like the locals that work in your community, right? Like spend the money there, shop local, right? Keep the money here, because if you spend it to a corporation, it goes away forever. Like
Yeah.
so, and and it goes like I've said this about diagnostic work before too, where yeah, you can shoot the parts cannon at a car, right? Sure, like you get a PO 300 or whatever, and you go through you go to Identifix and you just pick the top four, right? And you just put all those parts on it, right? They choose like a cam sensor, like a PO 340, right? Cam sensor A circuit, right? Okay, so we're gonna do the cam sensor, we'll do the pigtail, we'll like, and you just do whatever those three connectors are. It was $800 for all those parts, right? Or you could spend $500 on diagnostic and then $300 to have the cam sensor replaced because they verified exactly what it is. At the end of the day, the bill is the exact same, right? $800, the car's fixed. Who knows what part fixed it on the parts cannon, right? So, but my point is like, why do you spend like $800 in parts when you can provide $500 worth of skilled labor to a technician? Like that's what I always bring up when it comes to diagnostic. Like, oh well, O'Reilly's told me that it could be this and that. I'm like, yeah, but now you're supporting O'Reilly's, right? Now you're supporting Napa. Do you want to support them, or do you want to come spend the money and support my technician that goes to training, that learns all these functions work? And so I always roll it that way. Like, and that way, next time when you have another problem where all those parts don't fix it, you know where to come because this guy's sharp and you've spent money with him so he can continue his training, right? So, like, just to feed off your point of like, that's where this money goes. Like, we're not expensive. We're providing a service, and this is the value add that we're adding to it. So, I mean, I use that example a lot to try to like, man, is that much? Like, yeah. I mean, but this is where the money's going.
Yeah. It's not justification, it's explanation, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like,
That's a good way to put it. Yep.
yeah, so it's I had a guy today that picked up his vehicle, couldn't afford to pay for the repairs, and the car is undrivable. The wheel bearing is completely locked up. It's the first one I've ever seen that locked up, like from driving like that, and it needed wheel bearings. He tried to do the brakes himself, and he put the wrong he put the left on the right or the right on the left, and the bleeder was facing down. Couldn't bleed the brakes, and I said, "Look, dude." And then I actually called my coach about this car because he wasn't the type of person that bought his own parts to save money. He bought it because he was trying to do the job and he couldn't get the pedal to come back. Well, he has the wrong caliper on. So I'm like, what do I do? Right. So he has the other rotor, the other pads, and the other caliper in the truck. That has to be addressed. But the problem is the wheel bearing. He was trying to fix the grinding by putting brakes on it, and the wheel bearing is locked up. And I'm like, okay, so we have to do a wheel bearing, and the other side has to be done. It's got a ton of play in this Ram. It's like an '09 Ram, 150,000 miles on it. And the lower ball joints are bad. The upper ball joint's bad. So he got an estimate for 4 control arms and new pads and rotors and calipers from me. And he bought them from the same store that I'm going to buy them from. But if I don't put my parts on it, and if there's a problem, I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm not an insurance guy, but I would be very surprised if the insurance company is going to back me if there's a problem with his parts that I put on, even though that I'm going to put on almost the identical parts from the same store. So it's like, I'm sorry. And I explained to him that it's a liability thing, um, more so than it is a profit thing. And I explained to the customer that I spend a lot of money with the coach to get really good insight to make sure that we're doing the right thing as a business and taking care of the client properly. And that means that in order to do this job, we have to do all of these parts. And I'm like, I did call the store and I was able to like work it out to where he could return them, even though they've been installed. So I'm trying to look out for him a little bit, but his estimate for doing all of that work was almost $5,000, right? And that sounds like crazy expensive because a guy down the road is going to do it for 1,500, but that's just what the numbers work out to. And it's like, I'm sorry, it's expensive, but this is the way we have to do it here. And he understood. He wasn't upset or anything. He was in my loaner car for 2 days, and I gave him the loaner car for an extra day because he had more time to think about it. And I'm like, it's okay, man. I said, don't worry about it. I said, if someone comes in that needs a car, I'll pay for the loaner or for the rental because I had another appointment coming in that usually gets a loaner car. Luckily, she didn't need a loaner that time, and I didn't have to pay for the rental car. But people need help too, and it's okay to give that kind of thing. He's got a lot on his plate, man. $5,000 to fix an '09 Ram, and it still has a leaking exhaust manifold on top of all of that. It's like you got issues. So being expensive is okay. That's my point of the
Yeah,
first
I
20
mean,
minutes.
well, it's a good point too, though. But like where I started with doing transmissions, that was a minimum, right? Like it didn't really go much less than that, 4 or 5 grand. So like I got pretty used to pretty quickly. Like that's just what it costs to keep this car on the road. I think like doing the 300% rule, right? It's like that was kind of easy for me to do because I wasn't so sticker shocked by like the amount of things. But when I really look at the amount of stuff that we're finding, sometimes you do find, $9,000 worth of like just maintenance, and you're like, whoa, like that's a lot. That does seem
Yeah.
like a lot. And you're not getting an engine, you're not getting a transmission, you're not getting a major component replaced. So it's like a 3-year warranty on it or nothing. So it does kind of look a little different. I guess I never had the sticker shock of like seeing that, but it's also like to your point. Yeah, it's like, man, but what's the alternative, right? Like what else are they going to do? Go buy a used car, go buy a new car that's a pile of junk for $80,000. I don't know.
That's a very valid point. That's something I'll touch on too if we have time.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of time.
But with doing that and we are obviously a 300% rule shop, and I think there's even iterations of the 400 and the 500%. But I think anybody that's listening to your podcast probably understands what that rule is, and if they don't, I'm not going to bore them with it. But here's where it really matters: is when you have the discovery conversation, making the appointment over the phone, you do explain. A lot of people get scared because our evaluation cost is 170 for an initial evaluation. And I explained to them that 80% of the time we're able to come to the root cause of the problem within the initial evaluation. And then 15% of the time we're going to have to add, some more testing. And then the other 5% is a pretty serious problem. And so they're already pre-warned that $170 doesn't guarantee I'm going to tell you what's wrong with the car. And so to get past some of that initial sticker shock of like, well, that's a lot of money. Well, it is, but also included with that is a very comprehensive courtesy health checkup, is what we call it, or DVI. And I said, the purpose of this DVI, or I don't call it that with them, the purpose of this courtesy health checkup is to try to tell you exactly what we can find wrong with the entire vehicle. So you just have the most educated decision, or you're able to have the most information to make an educated decision on any repairs. And if you come in for a non-safety, complaint, and we find safety related problems, God forbid that we fix something that's, has nothing to do with safety and there's a problem. And on the other hand, if we spend $1,000 fixing your electrical problem and you leave here and you come back like a week later and you need tires and a bunch of other stuff that you didn't know about, well, maybe that $1,000 along with the $5,000 worth of other safety and reliability problems probably would have swayed you into buying another car or another, like a down payment or something else. So when you explain it to them up front, and I tell them it's not uncommon for your car to come up with $8,000 to $10,000 worth of past due maintenance and a bunch of other things. But it's not to sell you all of that today. It's just so you can have it for the information for you. And that really takes care of a lot of that sticker shock. And you tell them up front, like, it's not uncommon and don't freak out. But sometimes when I do when I do send the inspection results over, the prices are turned off, initially, because I don't need someone, a lot of my guys are in the military and they don't have a lot of time to like review that. And if you just send them an estimate for $10,000, they're like, dude, what in the world is going on? It's like, nope, review this and call me when you get a chance. And then as soon as they answer the phone, I turn the prices on and I start talking through it. And I said, go ahead and refresh that, and then we'll start looking at it. So 300% rule is absolutely key to making money, but more importantly, it's providing a service to them to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So like, I'm glad that you're used to those big estimates, but I'm not, and I am now after a year of doing it, but it's it's pretty it gets sad, like this guy with this truck, I feel bad for him, but I just know that I'm not lowering my price and I'm not lowering my standards. So it's like that is what it is.
Yeah, it's a good line, and I like what you do about the prices too. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, my issue that I always find, and the rub with the 300% rule that I get is like, wow, I came in because I have this one small, which and of course they've talked to their buddies and everybody else in the world like about what it could be, so they already got a pretty good idea it's going to be X amount, right, for what they think. There's the internet, like, it's the elephant in the room, right? But like, there's YouTube and there's the internet, and so most people were going to have a pretty good idea of like what it's going to take, so that when they get that estimate of $10,000, they're like, hold on a second, like, now you're just trying to like hose me, right? You're just trying to rip me off, because that's instinctually what they want to feel anyway. They want to go to a mechanic shop and think they're oh, I caught you trying to rip me off. Like, that's what they're looking for,
Yep.
right? And my issue is there's two different people that own vehicles. There's one person, the engine light comes on and they won't drive it, right? Engine light pops on the dash and they will pull over and have it towed home. You have the other person that you pull it in because the wheel's about to fall off, right? There's every light and every code on the dash on, right? And you let them know, oh yeah, that code's been on since I bought it. I'm not worried about it, right? It's like two totally polar opposite people that drive vehicles, right? And we have to somehow find the middle that makes them both happy, right? Where you do this whole report on the guy with, I'm like, I told you not to worry about that check engine light. It's been on forever. You're not going to rip me off with that. And you got the other side where you're like, all right, I'll just fix the wheel bearing and I won't worry about the rest of the car. They leave and the engine light's on and they freak out, right? Oh, I thought you were going to look at everything. Like, I can't drive this car with my check engine light on, right? So you can't make everybody happy, right? But I think I'm on your side with the safety side of it, and I've said this so many times, but with like when we did transmissions specifically, they'd come in, they spend $8,000, $6,000 on a transmission, and then they leave, and sure enough, 3 months later, they need a wheel bearing or water pump's leaking or whatever, right? Well, I wouldn't have spent that kind of money if I knew I needed to spend another $1,500 for wheel bearings and a water pump. And it's like, well, you didn't tell me to look at everything. It's like, well, why didn't you just do that, right? And so I had a lot of that. I had a lot of that going on when I first started. And so I very quickly was like, all right, we're inspecting the whole vehicle, because if they're going to spend that kind of money to replace the transmission, let's make sure that they're not coming back in a month and needing to spend another $2,000, right? Like, let's get it all at once. If it's $10,000 all in one shot, at least they know this is what it's going to cost to put the car back on the road and make it reliable for the next year to 3 years, right? So that's kind of where I started with the whole, and that was before I even got with any coaching company that taught me the 300% rule. It was just like, I think this is what we need to start doing so that I don't have to deal with people coming back and yelling at me, because I don't like that.
Yeah.
So,
That's not a fun.
no, that's
That's
not
not.
fun. And and
No.
and and it felt valid. Like, it felt very valid, because I was selling for my own back pocket, right? Like, if I went to a shop and I put a new transmission in and I left, and a month later, or even a couple weeks later, something was leaking because they didn't look at it, I'd be a little like, dude, like, you could at least let me know. Like, you put a transmission in it. Like you didn't like check the rest of it. You didn't check my engine oil level. Like no, we were a transmission shop. We don't check engine oil level. Like from the business standpoint, like 100% you're behind it. From the consumer standpoint, I'm also 100% behind that. So it's like it's really hard. Like who's right in that situation, you know? Like so I'd rather just bank on the other side. If you think I'm ripping you off, like whatever, but it's all about being transparent. I really like what you said about taking the prices off because that really helps, you know, bring that stress level down. Like, here's what you came in for. Here's how much it costs to fix the problem that you told us about when you came in. And also, here's some other items that we found. Do you want to even know how much it costs to fix those, right?
Yeah, that's it. It depends on the customer, and sometimes real life happens, and you get really busy, and you're just like, it's only a couple $1,000s. Let the prices on. Send it. Call me if you have any questions. Right. It. But at the same time, if it's a new customer, it's like that. That's almost never going to happen. We're almost always going to have the prices off to where we can have a conversation. And I had some really good training at ASTA last year with oh, what the heck is his name? It's been too many months now, but it was the institute. His service advisor training was done by one of his coaches, and it was really good. It was like the map of service writing and overcoming objections, right? And he did a great job. I wish I knew his name, um, but that was like it was really nice to be able to get the service writing part down when you're talking to the customer and be able to um, give them somewhat control, but you're always in control. It sounds kind of weird, right? It is a conversation to have, but you always want to maintain control and steer the conversation and get through your entire plot. And it's really hard to do that when the prices are turned on, right? Because they're just like, they automatically just looking at the price and they get fixated on that. So you just kind of keep focused and keep on going down in that. Um, I might, depending on the situation and how the conversation's going, I might stop after their concern and say, "This is what we found the concern. This is the cost to fix that. You who do have some safety issues," and I'll start listing those off. I'm like, "This is the price to do that." So, but that really helps. The other thing too, like the one thing I wanted to touch on is that you said you liked how we turn the prices off and we do these other things, and then you're worried about like when you're switching over to 300% rule and you're doing these things. Our cutoff time or our cutoff year for our shop is 2000, right? And I can say that between 2000 and 2010, when I have discovery conversations about when's the last time I was at a shop, have you had any major work done, and you ask these probing questions and it gets them talking and you've learned more about the car and the person. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to be like, okay, for your initial evaluation, we're going to actually reduce the rate down. This is what I do it, which is probably wrong. We're going to reduce the labor rate down for your inspection, but I am going to charge you an hour and a half, and it's going to come out to 225. And the reason why we do that is because the DVIs take too darn long, because we do want to capture everything, and it's not uncommon for a DVI to take an hour on some shit box, right? And that's what we're trying to get away from. I don't mind eating. It's built into my price structure to eat, 0.75 per ticket that comes in. I'm eating that cost at $0 to the client. But if I have a complete, mess of a car coming in, I'm going to charge more money to do the free DVI. And on top of that, they also have a conversation that this may not be a good fit, and we're not sure if we're going to want to work on this car. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to explain that I don't want to work on your pile of junk. And it's a problem, right? Yeah, it's like how do you express that in such a way that's like eloquent, and it's really hard.
I can't get parts. I just had a 1925 Chrysler 300. Yeah,
Oh my
all
gosh,
original.
that's
You ever seen you have the throttle the throttle needle and the timing adjuster on the steering wheel?
it's like an old Harley. Yeah,
You know
okay,
what I'm talking about? Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. You had the little retarder you can pull the lever down on the steering wheel to start it and it had the little push button. I mean, it was all original 1925 Chrysler, and it's like there's no parts available for this. I'm sorry. Can you come pick it
yeah.
up?
It's a challenge, and that's when you have to be willing to say no. Right?
Yeah.
There's been some conversations recently in the Facebook groups, and it's like, it's still funny to see shops that are involved in the Facebook groups that, in my opinion, are still better than most shops out there. But everyone has a computer. You can be a total terrible owner and still be on Facebook, right? But then you still have these guys saying, "Oh yeah, we do customer supplied parts, don't do any warranty." It's like, dude, that's still a problem, and you're still a blight on the industry. So if you do customer supplied parts, I don't really like you very much. So, and you can hate me for saying that, but it's like that's a problem, man. And then when you have these other cars like this, like you just don't say no. Like, oh, can you help me out with this one? All right, no, I can't. And it's like when you say no to these, when you say yes to those other ones, you're saying no to the customers that care about your services and care about you making money. And almost every single time you talk to anybody that's been in business for more than 6 months, when you say yes to helping somebody that you probably shouldn't, it's always those clients that give you the hardest time and you lose the most money on. And it's a challenge because we want to help people. That's why one reason why we're in the industry. Most of us start shops because we want to do things better than where they're working, right? And we want to help, but it costs us so much money and aggravation and stress, and it's just hard. You just have to say no, you know. But
Well, that just feeds right back into customer supplied parts. Is the exact same mindset, right? Because every single time, or 98% of the time, that you say, "Yeah, go ahead and bring your part down," it's the wrong part, right? It's either misboxed or mislabeled, right? It's not for that car, or you put it on and then it fails in a month, and then you're stuck. And they're like, "Well, it must have been." I called the manufacturer and they said it was an installer error, right? Like it, and it just never fails, right? And it's like 2 to 5% of the time that it works, right? And it's usually, um, I don't know, what would be a good example of a supplied parts that actually works. Like it's so rare. Like maybe a Jeep, like the Jeep guys are usually pretty good about doing their own research. Like, and if you're putting like maybe side steps on, like you can't really screw that up. Yeah, sure, bring your side steps on, I'll mount them on for you, like whatever. Like, yeah, that's fine. If they got that in the back seat and it's coming in for a bunch of other work, and they're like, "Hey, I've been meaning to put my spare tire holder on or my rock sliders or whatever." Like, well, you got it in the air. Would you mind putting those on? They're in the back. Like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that. Like,
so
I
that
don't mind. But it's like that's like 2%. Like it's so
Yeah, and that's
small.
like you are right. So I probably need to like open mouth insert foot a little bit and not be so hard lined about it because there is shades of gray to that. I have a customer drop off today for an '09 GTI that has an electrical problem, which I'm charging a battery now. So if the battery explodes, I'll have to run off of here real quick. But um, he's like, "Hey, if it's not too much trouble, I have a throttle body on the front seat. If you can throw that on for me, that'd be great. If it's not too expensive." And I get in the car after I jump the car and bring it in the shop, and it's a Duralast AutoZone throttle body. It's like I don't care how much money you're paying me. I don't care what my rules are. Like I'm never putting an AutoZone throttle body on a Volkswagen. Like you are absolutely out of your mind. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I mean, I would never.
That's a
Now,
fair point.
yeah, now some of those we are an AutoZone store, okay, and so I belong to it's a ProVantage network, nationwide warranty. As far as I know, it's the only um, of the big three or big four parts stores. AutoZone is the only one that I know of that actually pays 100% labor claim. So there's a lot of value in that. And then with their next part system, we can get OEM parts. I will pay more money a lot of times to get parts from them that are OEM dealer only because I can provide that nationwide warranty. Like, because a lot of my clients are in the Army and they PCS, right? So they're going across country and then, I can still provide that same warranty without having to shell out of pocket. But there's a lot of good things about um, AutoZone, and a lot of their parts, believe it or not, a lot of their parts are of pretty good quality. Not everything, by all means. Like there's a lot of stuff I'm not buying from them, but I wouldn't be surprised if I open up that box and it's got a Continental or a VDO throttle body in it. And that would be great throttle body, but I'm still not putting their part on the car. But
It sounds like a good program. I mean, I know there's the Napa, right? The Gold program's pretty good, and then Certified Auto with O'Reilly's. That's really big for us on the West Coast. O'Reilly's is really putting a pretty big footprint down, and Their labor rate per hour just went up, but they do the whole labor claim. It's just at a reduced rate. Um,
Yes, and
so, and I've heard
they are
AutoZone's got a
good.
pretty good program for the shops.
My customer sales rep that I have coming in from O'Reilly's, his their customer service from O'Reilly's at my local store is top notch. The sales rep, he's still coming in. He still wants me to, join his car program. And I'm like, well, I just can't do it quite yet. But I mean, AutoZone takes care of us pretty well. Um, I do I know what parts I can trust, and I don't want to relearn that. It's like what I can get away with aftermarket, and what I can't. And now my new tech is a lot of Euro background, so we're buying a bunch from API and WorldPack now. So I don't know what's going to happen with TechNet, but since Advanced sold them, but it would be nice if I can find out for sure. If I can have two warranty programs, I will. The car program with O'Reilly's, they won't allow you to do that. I don't think Napa does either. And I mean, I try to run the business pretty up on the up and up, and I don't want to hide that I might have a second warranty program or something. So we'll see if TechNet and ProVantage can live together, because I have a feeling that we're going to be doing a lot more Euro now. But
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're meeting your sales quota or your bogey, I think that's all that matters. I mean, I'm not opposed to running my Napa car care program as well as my certified auto program, right? And at the end of the day, it's like what we're doing here is taking care of people, right? And if I can get the part from a different supplier, right, that's like where my first call doesn't have it and my second call does, well, I want to make sure that part also has the same coverage and the same warranty and the same and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, I can see how it's like it looks like we might cheating or like whatever they want to say, like the impact of like going back and forth. But ultimately, that client's going to come back to this shop, and if you keep providing me a good customer service, you're still going to be my first call. But doesn't mean I'm not going to make my second call not have the same quality warranty as the first. You know what I'm saying? So like I get why they have like the no compete clause and all that other stuff, but I just laugh at it. I'm like, yeah, no. You're not gonna dictate the way we run our business. I'm sorry, but it's not going. It's like AAA. You know, AAA. I don't know if you've ever looked into AAA certification. It's not a
um,
bad program. It's for like
okay,
the insurance company AAA.
yeah,
And so we get a lot of tow-ins from them, and it's a good program. But you know, there's a lot of flack about them as well. And the main thing is like, well, just don't let them dictate the way you run your shop, right? Like we just had a flyer sent email to us about running an oil change discount special. Hey, we're doing this special, and it's going to be sponsored at all the AAA shop locations. It's like not this one. We're not doing that. So like and the only reason why they do that is just to get that and then use that as feedback so they know how what kind of car count is coming through the areas in the different counties, so they can start selling that information to bigger shops like Christian Brothers or the big chains, right? And so that's their market research, and it's like you're not getting that out of here. Like there's no need for me to discount my services because it's like no, like they're already getting free tows to the shop. I think that's plenty. Like they don't need any more discounts.
yeah, and you've been vetted, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
be vetted to
Oh
like
yeah.
what else? I mean, of any shop out there, um, or any customer out there, I think most of them want to be taken care of and not be ripped off,
Yeah.
as in a parts cannon with $800, as you said, with a bunch of parts put on it,
Yep.
which are probably all inferior parts anyway, because no professional shop should be putting $800 worth of junk on a car regardless.
Yeah.
So it's like now you have to take all that back off, when you do it, get it at your shop. So it's like most of them want to be taken care of. So, yeah, I agree with you. Discounting is kind of rough. I'm still playing. Like I'm kind of thinking about, like I like talking to Mike Allen and all these other people that are on the groups that offer like a discounted oil change. Like what would happen if I did get car count that way and I did give an oil change away at $40? I mean, a lot of people make fun of that. Like our oil changes are about $115 for a conventional oil change here at the shop, which is a lot of money, right? But you also get a free, DVI and top off fluids properly and all of that things. But a lot of people don't care about that. They just
No, they
want a
don't.
$50 oil
No.
change. And it's like, okay, well, there was a one person I was seeing on the forums a few months ago, and he's like, I do a $50 oil change, and I've gotten a lot of clients from it. I would be curious to see what the ROI is on that. Are you getting a bunch of cars that you don't ever want to work on? Maybe, but I don't know. Without doing like real data, I mean, I'm not in the best area. I'm pretty darn expensive for the area in my down here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But I'm curious to know, like,
It's and it's one thing that I was polarized against for a long time. I just we just didn't do oil changes for a long time. Like we don't even like it's not even it wasn't even worth our time. Like the amount of stuff that I have coming in for high level diag stuff, transmission diag, like every other shop in town uses us for transmission problems. It's like I don't we don't need to do oil changes. We would literally tell them like I'll do an oil change if I'm doing like the transmission service. Sure, I'll pop the plug out and we'll fill it back in. Like, and I'm not even going to charge you for that. I'll just charge you for the oil and the filter, right? Like I'm not going to charge you for. But if you come in off the street and you want an oil change, we would just say no. Like I'm not. It's not even worth having the conversation, right? And in the last year and a half 18 months, like it's completely changed. And like listening to like Mike Allen and listening to Tom Hayes and like these guys talking about how they use that as a loss leader, um it starts to make a little bit of sense when you start seeing that your marketing budget of like 4 or 6%, right, and you're dropping say $8,000 to $10,000 a month in marketing, and it's 4% of your gross, and it's like, wow, there's like a substantial amount of money going into my marketing, right? And then you're looking at car count. Okay, I'm at 100 cars, so do the math on that, right? What's your cost of acquisition? How much is it costing me to get every one of these cars through my door? Because you can do that math. Like, yeah, and there's
yeah,
some referrals that are stuffed in there too, but like on average, like this is what you're spending and this is how many cars you're getting. Let's just get down to brass tacks. So what if you did an oil change special and you were able to double that, but your marketing cost went from 4 to 2% because you doubled your car count, but you only lost say 60, say your cost of acquisition was $80 a car, right? And then you took that $80 and you just put that towards the oil change. Now the oil change is $29.99, right? So you're just using that cost of acquisition, you're just giving it to the client. So you increased your car count, but you lowered your cost of acquisition. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. But
yep,
if you don't have the processes in place and the people to like capture every one of those sales, because now you just doubled your car count. Are you really going to be able to do the 300% rule on every one of those cars if you just overnight doubled your car count? So I think that's where it really turns a lot of people off because now they're just busy. And it's like, I don't need to be more busy. It's like, when I first started and marketing companies would call me, right? Hey, you want to get a website up? You want to do this, do that? I'm like, I don't need to do any of that. Why? Dude, I'm so busy. I don't need more work, right? That was my response to these guys that were trying to sell me marketing. Like, I'm so busy. Like, I don't, and I was doing like 30 cars a month, right? Like, but that was all me and like one other guy that was like not even like showing up half the day, right? So it was like, yeah, I was pulling my hair out just trying to keep up with 30 cars a month, right? And it's like, I don't need any more cars. That's crazy. I would never do a discount oil change if I was out in that position. Like that would make zero sense to me.
yeah. That's a valid point. Like, I had a marketing company reach out to me that does social media, like really nice production quality, like commercials, right? Um, they were really cool. A little, um, texted me more often than what I wanted. Hey, I just thought about you. I'm stuck in traffic. Like, how you doing? And it's, here's what I did for this guy. And it's like, okay, dude. And finally he called me and I was like, look, man, I have so much work here right now. I think at that point when he called me, I was sitting at $31,000 worth of sold work that I can't get finished. I'm like, how are you going to be able to improve that? If I bring in more cars, that's going to make everything worse.
Yep.
So we got that done finally. We're only sitting at I think 17,000. So it's like it's a problem. Which is what I'm fighting right now is processes. Like you said, if you don't have the stuff to get it done, dude, it's gonna be bad. And I'm fighting it. We have a car count problem, but my guys are still turning wrenches all day, every day, and I guess we're making it because our average hours per ticket are still really high, and my average repair order I think right now is still like $1,100 a month, for like general repair with maybe like a 40% euro or 30% euro. So like, I guess that's pretty good for not being a strictly euro shop. So I think that's how we're making it, but we should be down. We should be uh, about double what we are, um, car count wise. But we're still doing it.
Well, yeah, it reminds me of like kitchen nightmares, like the stress tests. It's like every time, and it's like that's when all the processes fall apart. And even if you have them all together, everybody always reverts back. And I've seen where we can kind of cruise at about 70 to 80 cars a month, and like it's pretty light. Like we need more. Like it's definitely, but we're extremely efficient. Like tons of Google reviews. Everybody's knocking work out. Like everything's flowing. But I'm like, okay, we need more. So then we get to that tipping point of 100 to 110, and that's when things start kind of like getting backed up, and the stress level rises, and then things start kind of misfiring, and then we lose the processes, and everything kind of goes downhill. And it's at that point, it's like, okay, we don't need any more. But it should be, in my mind, like a machine, right? Where like you open the throttle and it's like it just wants more, 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 more. And it's like that's where you start seeing like these bigger shops, right? They can take those discount oil changes and like use that process because they want to keep feeding it, right? Like when they get to that stress test, they excel with flying colors because all the processes work. Everybody stays in their lane. Everything gets done the way it should. It's like let's just keep feeding it, and then you can absorb those lost leaders and make it keep flowing, moving forward. And it's like I've never been in that position, but it's like I see that visual in my mind now. Like, oh, I understand. Like once you break through that ceiling and everything starts firing on all cylinders, you just want to dump more air and fuel in that thing, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is. Let's just get people in the door, right? Because everybody's just cruising. Um, it's an exciting proposition to like think about, right? Never been there, but I mean, it's like that's why I like to say, oh, that will never work. You should never do that. Well, like in my position, like yeah, I probably shouldn't even try. Like I'm nowhere near making that work, but it's like I still need that in the back of my mind. It's still like a good wild card to have. Like one day when we get to that position, it's like okay, let's run the discount oil change campaign and get some cars in the door because the more people that come in and are impressed by you, even if they're only spending like 1 out of 10, they're gonna be like, man, that was pretty cool. Like, and I got a discount oil change. I'm not going anywhere else because they were so impressed by everything. If you got a rundown shop and you got someone screaming at you and everyone's throwing tools out back and it's dirty and it's greasy and like yeah, you're not impressing anybody. Don't discount a service just to get them in the door. Why would you want other people to see this place?
Yeah, that's
But if you got a Taj Mahal, like yeah, discount your price and get them in the door and show them what you got. And it's like, I mean, how many dinners have you gone to or restaurants that you've gone to where you got a discount and you walked in, you're like, hey, this place is pretty freaking nice, like, and you just go back again without the discount because they got you in the door. I mean, it works. It's marketing.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of was. A lot of people give Mike a problem, like a hard time with his free diag and stuff, but um, he's got it going on, man. He knows what he's doing, and he's still learning. He's still experimenting with a lot of it, right? But I can see how that. I'm not opposed to it. Would it work in my shop? Yes, if I have things done correctly, but I think it's going to be really, really hard for us to do that. And I'm not in any position to even think about doing that in the next year or two. But it's all marketing. He's really smart about how he was doing it, right? And it has to have the correct expectations up front, which is a lot of the bad things happen when you have like a discounted oil change, right? And you bring it in, like you want to show them what you're capable of. Hey, look at my clean shop, look at my waiting area. As much as Brian hates it, enjoy a free, really nice cup of coffee and enjoy some hot chocolate, right? And see what we can do. And then while you're back at work, after we give you a free ride home or I put you in a loaner car, I'll send you the information. And they're blown away by what we did for, let's say we're going to do an oil change for $50 or $40 or something. And then they're like, oh, wow, this is actually kind of nice, right? So it's smart. And he's doing a lot of that with, instead of being oil changes, he's doing it with a diag. And like he'll admit that it makes things a whole lot more streamlined too. So you can see how it would work out in the long run, hopefully, to where those clients, you do retain them and they do say, this is a really nice shop to their friends and that kind of thing. And like it's really, I think that by the end of the year, we probably will run a campaign like that. Once we get our machine lubed up properly to where we are flowing exactly the way I want to, and we do need car count because we are being more efficient. I can absolutely see that being, that's something that we're going to do. Um,
I think
it's
I think it I think it degrades the industry a little bit. I think it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, I get it from a business standpoint, but like from an industry standpoint, from a technician standpoint, it really, really devalues the what should be the lead generator. And I mean, I've had conversations and I've heard him talk about it, and it does make sense on paper, but like looking at from the outside in as like a consumer, right? Oh wow, that like everybody else charges so much to tell me what's wrong with my car, and I knew it the whole time. See this shop right here? They'll just plug in their tool and tell me what it is because that's all they're doing. And I think it like builds on that, and I think that's what the opposition of it is. Obviously, it comes down to communication, and that's not what's happening, but that's what it seems like, especially when that client leaves the shop, goes home. Oh, I went to this shop because they diagnosed it for free, and it's like those two words should never be in the same sentence ever, like right, like that, because it is like advanced assessments was what we call them, but like diagnostics or whatever you want to label it, that should be the lead, that should be the highest paid position in the shop, and that's what should be the biggest revenue generator. When people have someone wrong with their car, they need to understand like it's going to be $400 or $500 to figure out what it is. So why don't you maintain it and find a good shop that will keep it maintained, so you're not like waiting for the fire alarm to go off and then go figure out what it is, right? Like that's how that should work. Just like with medical, right? Like go get your yearly checkups. Don't wait until you get cancer diagnosis, right? Because it's going to be really expensive to figure out what's wrong with you. If you have your regular medical checkups, it's easier to manage your health, right? It's kind of similar on those same lines. So when you say like free diag, like I get it, and it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're taking the cost that you normally would, and you're just padding it on top of your labor rate. So instead of charging $190 an hour, it's $205 an hour, and that covers the cost of it. It's like, or why don't you just like have a fair hourly rate and then just charge someone, the 2 hours or 3 hours that you should be charging for the assessments. But I also get like back to my point about like client acquisition costs. Like, what's the fastest way and the easiest way? Like, well, we'll just tell people something's free and then just give them the price for the repair at the end. That way, you're not advertising a cost to get the car in. Because at the end of the day, it's like the same thing. Todd Hayes and Todd Westerland talk about, just say yes. Like, just get the car in the shop. Just get it in. Like, and what's the biggest opposition that you deal with when clients call the shop? Like the price,
yeah,
right? Like that's the biggest thing. So if you can eliminate that, they will drop your car off. You're like, hey, I got my check engine light on. What does it cost to check that? Like nothing. Bring it on down. We'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it. Like, of course they're gonna bring their car in.
yeah,
It's the easiest sell in the world. So I
I
don't know.
agree.
I get it, but it's like it's tough.
You've got very valid points, and it's again, it's a shades of gray,
Yep,
and luckily, this is still America for a little bit longer, and everyone has their own way to do things the way they want, right?
absolutely.
So it but you are correct. I think it does degrade the industry some, which is some of my reservations as well. And it comes down to like how those conversations actually happen when you do bring them down. We will give you the the initial evaluation. For us, we use initial. We got away from using level one, twos, and threes. So now it's just the initial evaluation. And then after that, we come up with a game plan if we do not solve or come to the root cause of the problem. And that would be a way that you can kind of explain that. And it's like, this is what we can do, and it's what we can offer for free. It's still a very valid thing. And then after that, we have to get into very specific, diagnostic tools, very expensive equipment, and tap into our extremely expensive knowledge database. And it's like, speaking of which, I had a guy come in this last week on Friday, the busiest day of the week, and I'm like, he came in here asking for free information for the third time on his old truck. And I'm like, after the third time, I said, look, dude, I told you what you need to know, and you're still like battling with me about how much oil goes in his AC compressor when he's replacing it. I'm like, you pulled up in a parking lot. I showed you, hey, your AC compressor's leaking. And he bought a new compressor, and he comes in and like slams on my really nice counter, and he's like spinning it around in circles, scratching the thing up. And he's like, well, online it said it takes 7 ounces. I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, that compressor doesn't hold 7 ounces. It's probably 7 ounces in the entire system. You need to get service information. And he was like, well, how much oil does it take? I said, I don't know. I have to look it up. And then he's like, he was basically wanting me to look it up. I said, dude, I spend $450 or a little over $500 a month for service information. I'm like, at that point in time, I said, you are relying on my 25 years in the industry, 27 years in the industry as a business owner that has $30,000 worth of expenses every month for me to tell you how to fix your own car. This is the third time you came in here. And he's like, well, yeah, I come here because you told me what was wrong with the first one. Like, you fixed my other car. He's like, he said, you fixed my other car for me. I said, no, I didn't. You fixed the other car after I told you how to test it. And then you still battled me on the repair. And then he listened to me and he put an AC Delco pressure sending unit in his old C10 truck. And magically it's fixed. And I'm like, that's the third time he came in. So I told my service writer, I said, if he comes in again, you tell him to leave, and you're going to tell him you're going to call the police. He's going to be trespassed. And I am dead serious. I was so mad. I said, I swear to God, if he comes in here and you don't get him out by threatening the police, I'm going to fire you. And I am dead serious. I will fire her if she does not call the police if he does not leave. So
You should just hand him a job application. What's this? Well,
yeah.
typically, I typically pay the guys that are asking me these kinds of questions. So why don't you just grab some tools and head on back, and I'll just give you a paycheck.
So there's your free diag. I did it to
Yeah.
myself. So your free diag is there. You go. So you got 3 hours of free diag between three different cars. And I was like, dude, I think he realized that his welcome is completely over.
Yeah.
And I hope that he doesn't realize it, because then it's going to get ugly. I don't care. I'm going to pull a Zeb beard on him.
There's a small party that's like really hopes this guy shows back up. So you like
Oh yeah.
show him where to go. I know that's the hardest part about the whole thing, right? Like is trying to help those situations, right? Trying to be Mr. Helpful, because it just feels like if you tell them no right off the bat, they're gonna go like run their mouth and like, that guy's
Yeah.
such an asshole, right? But you do it once, and it's like, and then it's just the doors open, right? And they just come back over and over and over, and it's like, I'm so glad to be beyond that. Like, that was one of the very first things within like the first year. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that shit. So it's like, I made sure no one got my cell phone number. Like, I'm not helping, right? I do a radio show like on Saturday mornings where people can call in and ask those kinds of questions.
Oh, that's
And
really cool.
I use that. Like, I'm like, hey, if you got something, like Saturday morning at 9 a.m., call in. I give you all the free information you want. But during the week, I got to make money, right? Like, so it's like, I use that as my out too, but it always backfires because people come to the shop all the time like, oh, I didn't get a chance to call in. Is he here right now? It's like, that's not how this works. That's not like
Yeah, it's a really
I
good
do my
idea.
community service, right? Like I've already
Yeah.
done that this week.
So like you should man, like Click and Clack is over, man. Like the guys are dead now, right? So
Yeah.
like yeah, that's pretty that I always love listening to those guys on NPR, man. Like Click and Clack, dude. There were some good people.
The new one's Under the Hood, the
Okay.
Nordstrom brothers. They have a pretty good show. It comes on like an hour after mine on the radio station I do here, and
Okay.
they have a pretty good show. It's nationwide. I don't know if what I do is anywhere near that. It's just because it's local, but I mean, I every once in a while I'm actually before this one, or it might be after this one. I hear this one. I have some of the radio shows that I've edited, and I'm going to be posting them on the podcast. So let's see how it goes.
That's pretty
Some
neat.
something
Like
different.
yeah, the nice thing about that is that you're talking to like people that aren't gonna like put you under the microscope, right? You're there to help and you're gonna give them correct information. And then when you release these things online and you have a bunch of shop owners and like, A techs that are gonna come after you, and it's like, dude, come on, man.
The
Like,
greatest.
yeah, that's so hard because I want to do what you guys are doing. I think it's really cool, podcast and all this social media stuff, and like I want to help people too, but then that's like I'm kind of sensitive, man. And if someone's gonna come after me for being like a doltard or something, you're like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have said that, or I was wrong,
I
But
mean, that's just part of the game.
I
Everyone's wrong
guess
all the time. That's just
what
between
fits,
between you and I. Repair Shops of Tomorrow is now the partner, but the one of the reasons is they are the sponsor of the podcast now. And so for that, we're going to do a year, and I'm going to do some real live, like as a shop owner doing a podcast, having a podcast sponsored by a coaching company, like it's all going out on the air, right? Like they were actually like, yeah, let's do it. Like we'll coach you and you can actually say your progression along the way and record it. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? Because I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. So it'll be an interesting year to see how that works out.
I mean, that's just what's nice about that with you not being, I guess, a part of changing the industry. You don't have a lot of those strings that you have to worry about, right? I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's part of that. And it's like, that's good. And that's what people want. They want the truth and raw data,
Yep.
So I hope that uh, any coach, as long as you're aligned morally, I think that any coach is going to help. It's just a matter of the degree of help and how much you're willing to change to make it happen.
That
Um,
and how much and how ready you actually are to receive it.
yep, that's very true.
All right, Josh. I appreciate it. Is it Josh or Joshua?
It doesn't matter, but Josh
Okay.
is fine. Yep.
Okay.
I guess
You
my wife calls me Josh. So,
you've probably been called a lot worse.
oh, I promise, I was not a good person to work with when I was a tech. I was not a good person to work with. I grew up a lot. At 26 was the year that I kind of realized that I probably need to change who I am. And then now you have 3 employees and it's like you pretty much have to or you won't have any employees, you know. So I try to take care of my people, but yes, I used to get called a whole lot worse.
Well, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. All right, Gearboxers. You know I keep things running smooth. Engines and beards alike. That's why I trust the Bearded Brotherhood for top quality, all natural beard care. From their best selling Woodsman to my favorite, Thieves, they keep me looking sharp and smelling fresh. Check this out. Get 15% off every order with the code GEARBOX15 at thebeardedbrotherhood.co/Gearbox15. Your beard will thank you.